it's round 4 of the Aviva Premiership, and we've had 4 matches already this weekend. And we've had something of a tri-fest, 20 in all, averaging 5 a game. And they're all coming your way in the next hour. And who knows what our third live match of the weekend might provide on that front. It all kicks off at 2 o'clock down at Sandy Park, where the Exeter Chiefs host the champions, the Leicester Tigers. Now, the teams arrived just a little while ago. Exeter lost home and away to Leicester last season, but don't forget, they did the double the season before. They will be pumped up for today's match. Leicester, well, they're in the middle of a massive injury crisis, but they can still lay claim to 11 internationals in their starting 15. That is some injury crisis, eh? They will provide a formidable challenge for the Chiefs today. Of course, we will also look back at everything that's happened in the Aviva Premiership so far. And let's start by having a quick look at the results this weekend. Well, it all started on Friday night. Northampton Saints beating Sale. A first try for George North. Then Bath, well, there are 3 wins from 4 at this stage of the season, beating London Irish 38-18. Finally, Wasps get a win. First win since February. Can you believe it? 32-16 against the Worcester Warriors. And then Sarries exerting all their power over Quins, 22-12. They are looking really, really strong. Let's have a peek at the table. Don't forget, we do have the Falcons against Gloucester. We bring all the scores from that throughout the course of the afternoon. But Sarries top of the pile, rightly so. They're playing out of their skins, as are the Saints. Bath in third after their win over the course of the weekend. But there's a tough old battle. 10, 11, 12 Irish, Newcastle and the Warriors. They've got a tough season ahead, that's for sure. Now, I'm delighted to say we have old Streetonians RFC in the studio to help us with any demos. What a lovely badge, a nice pig on there. That's interesting. Well done. Thanks for joining us, guys. Over at the social media hub over here, we have our bloggers, Rhiannon Chandler-Day, a happy Northampton Saints fan at the moment, Angus Savage from 15rugby.com, which... You can talk about soaring breaks as much as you want, but yesterday we saw one of the greatest qualities of the game of rugby. It's a great sight. The crowd get behind it. It's the driving maul, the rolling maul.
You're still drunk?
I am a little bit. It's a late night.
No, it's good. It's
a wonderful thing.
If it's done well, it's great for a scrum half, and actually for a fly-off and all the backs, it pulls so many defenders in.
Yeah, and here we're going to roll some VT of the game yesterday, where Saracens do it very well. We just stop it here. Steve Borthwaite's going up for the ball. Nick Easter is competing. And really what he wants to try and do is try and put it down. He does try and get it on the floor, but he doesn't manage to put it down. Tries to then get up on his feet and drive it through. And really, Austin, Harlequins are not committing enough defenders, are they, to stop the driving maul?
No, Buchanan and Robshaw there could theoretically step in, but that's largely controlled by Danny Kerr at scrum half, who's responsible for the fringes. He's worried whether Scott Brits can go round the corner, like we saw Jamie George do at Twickenham and score those tries. Real threats all round, but you have to stop it at source.
Yeah, and now it does become unstoppable. I mean, this was a 45-metre drive, resulted in Joe Marler being sin-bin, could have easily been a penalty try. So that's Saracens doing it very, very well. Let's have a little look at Nick Easter now, where he actually goes up for the ball, and give him credit. He's gone up with Steve Borthwaite. He's managed to get him not in the air, but as he lands on the floor, and pull him down, and this results in a turnover to Harlequins.
It's almost like he lands without putting his feet on the ground and thinks that his bum's going to hit the ground first, and uses his weight as momentum in the air to pull him down. The other good thing about that is he secures the ball and stops the shift drive.
So that's one way of stopping the driving maul, by pulling it down on the floor. Let's look at another way. We've set up our line out here with our rugby team, old Streetonians, and really we're going to throw the ball in and just see if we can go up and compete in the air and try and padlock the ball carrier and stop them from getting the ball away.
Do you want me to play hooker?
I think you should, Austin.
I've been practicing.
You've always been dying to.
Do you want a lob or just a flat ball? Get it in. All right, great. Here it comes.
Perfect. Now just stop it there, guys. So what we see is a nice padlock there. When you had players with the likes of Simon Shaw or Martin Johnson at Leicester who were able to come over the top and really padlock the ball in. The other thing, Austin, we've got the touch line. We've got to use that as our friend. So what we want to try and do is force the drive into the touch line and force them into touch.
Yeah, but this is also highlights. If you can stay there, guys, you come in closer. This highlights actually what's really poor about defending a drive. If you get wide and thin in this driving situation, these guys only have to break you through the middle. If they break you through the middle and you're bound on here, you end up having to run back 5 yards to come back in and drive. So better defensive drives have got a bit more depth to them and less width, and you get somebody in behind there. This guy gets his noggin in, get your head in, Chief, gets his head in there, and they're in a stronger position. They're fighting almost in like a scrum formation.
Yeah, for me, the best way to defend this as well is to try and split it at source. So we've got my 4 defenders here. I was always in the back row with Rob Shaw or someone else out here. We'll try and spin it infield here, expose the ribs of the defenders. Matt Stevens, that was yesterday for Saracens, and then we're nice and low and we just absolutely commit to smashing it. Leicester, very, very good at this. And we got some VT like to run just to show their game against Bath. And we'll run it slowly as Rob Webber puts the ball in, Austin.
Yeah, well, everyone does their role correctly, don't they? So Slater there takes the man to the ground. That's one man out. 3 guys blitz. Then watch Jordan Crane. He's looking for the ball, like you said, Lawrence, the ribs. Maybe he doesn't come from the back, but he gets in, he gets his hands on the balls and around the ball and around the ribs, not the balls. And then they come in and they blitz from the side, and that's really how you stop it. You have to be very, very physical. If you allow them to jump and come down, it's really quite easy. But there is one other slightly cleverer way. Within the laws...
What do you mean by clever? Sneaky?
Well, the problem is, if you allow forwards to think, or let them think they're thinking, they don't really think. So the ability is, if the ball comes in, Lawrence, you play hooker for us, we're in this line, we're defending, there's a metre gap. Potentially, this is what you can do. As the ball comes in, you just step away. Australia did it a few years ago, and now referees have had an unwritten law where they're suggesting that this isn't correct. We've got a referee here with us who's been advising me that actually there's no line, there's no offside line, there's no offside line to cover. So what you could theoretically do is your players can back off, and because there's no offside line and they've moved forward, you can come into this side and clamp the ball. Within the laws, not really within the spirit of the game.
So I think we've seen there's so many different ways of defending it, and just throwing ahead to today's game, obviously Leicester very good at defending it, but also good at setting up the drive. 2 attritional packs.
And can you just show to everyone at home why, when you're in the middle of a maul, you should probably think whether you want to hang on to the ball or not for a second? We just see these fingers. This is what happens when you hold on to the ball for too long.
Someone takes your thumb and
takes it all the way perfect. Around lunchtime as well. Thanks for that, Lol. That's fantastic. Yeah. So what do forwards get up to before a game? They have an awful lot to practice. Well, Freddie Burns has given us a wee insight. He's just...